Hello and welcome to Chapter 5, the Integumentary System. Okay, so the integumentary system is mostly going to be consistent of the skin and the accessory structures found within. Okay, so that is what we will be talking about on this video. The main purpose of the integumentary system mostly is for protection of the body. So we're maintaining the integrity. Look at that. So integrity, integumentary system. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, we're maintaining temperature. We do this through sweat glands. We're converting vitamin D into a useful substance. We're providing sensory information from the world around us. And then through all of this, we are maintaining homeostasis, so creating a balance for the body. And this chart kind of gives you an explanation of how. All right, so structures. We have three major layers. The most outer layer, so the surface of our skin, is the epidermis. So epi meaning above. And then the inner layer is going to be dermis. So if the epidermis is above the dermis is quote unquote the main layer of the skin. Below the dermis is the subcutaneous layer, also called hypodermis. So hypo is meaning below. So it is below the dermis. This is where we're going to anchor the skin to underlying tissue, such as muscle or bone. So here's a lovely picture of that. So epidermis, then dermis is where we're going to see all the accessory structures. So we have different sweat glands, oil glands, the hair, nails, blood vessels, nerve tissue. We see a lot of it there. Subcutaneous, so loose connective tissue. As you can see, this looks like a lot of adipocytes. All right, so the dermatologist is going to be the doctor who is treating and diagnosing disorders of the integumentary system. And for those of you who did not know, different ways to assess burns: the first, second, and third degree. So first degree means the burn has only reached the epidermis and no deeper. Second degree, we have entered the second layer of the integumentary system, which is the dermis. And then finally, the third degree burn, we have entered the subcutaneous layer. So we've caused damage to all three layers. Right? In the epidermis, so again, that top layer of the integumentary system, we have some specific specialty cells, if you will. So keratinocytes, melanocytes, intraepidermal macrophages, and tactile epithelial cells. We'll take a look at those. Keratinocytes, we are producing keratin. This is going to be the tough substance that creates the protection we need. And then melanocytes are producing the pigment melanin, so helping us keeping from becoming sunburnt. Then intraepidermal macrophages, as we'll see, macrophages help in immune responses. And then the tactile epithelial cells, they are going to help function in sensation of touch. So tactile is touch. Kind of makes sense. All right, so the layers of the epidermis. For the most part, most of the skin is consistent of 4 layers. This is going to be considered thin skin. It's really not actually thin, it's just thinner compared to 5 layers. Okay, which will be thick skin. Now, a way to remember how many layers are in each: we've got thin, which has 4 letters and 4 layers. Thick has 5 letters and 5 layers. So that should help you out there. All right, so from the deepest layer to the most superficial, we have stratum basale, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, and then stratum corneum. So stratum basale, this is going to be your base layer. This is where we're going to see a lot of those specialty cells, as well as the beginning of reparative function. So stem cells are going to be here, and differentiation is going to take place. A lot of mitosis happening here. Okay, stratum spinosum. This is where we're mostly consisted of keratinocytes. So this is where we're starting that production of keratin to create tougher cells to help with any abrasion or any injuries that might come our way to that portion of the skin, helping providing strength and flexibility. Granulosum, we no longer have cell division. So this is mostly just kind of the cells that have moved closer to the surface and are no longer actually dividing and continuing to try and live. Okay, skipping lucidum onto corneum. This is the most superficial layer. These are the dying superficial layers. So keratin has accumulated here, and now we are tough and water resistant. Okay, moving back layer is stratum lucidum, only found in thick skin. This is that extra layer we are finding in that thick skin, containing large amount of keratin. So where do we find thick skin? Thick skin will be found in the palms and in the soles of our feet. Okay, so if you think of where most of the abrasion is happening on a daily basis, we're constantly walking around and we're constantly picking things up and touching stuff. This is where we need that large amount of protection, so we have that extra layer. So thin skin, kind of also known as hairy skin, because hair will grow on this skin. Maybe not always, but it is a chance. Now thick skin, it is hairless. We will not grow hair on thick skin. I've never seen hair on the palms of somebody's feet, on the palms of somebody's hands, or the soles of somebody's feet. If you have a picture, please let me see it. Okay, skin pigments. This is where the melanin comes in. This is going to help with protection against UV radiation. Right. Quick clinical notes. Albinism and vitiligo. So albinism, we have a disorder in the production of melanin, and so we do not create the pigment. Okay, vitiligo is a chronic disorder that is causing depigmentation, so patches of non-pigmented skin. On to the dermis, that second layer. This is going to be connective tissue, no longer epithelial tissue, but connective tissue. Okay, we see a lot of collagen and elastic fibers here for strength and flexibility. So we have two layers to this, the papillary region and reticular region. Papillary region, this is just the closest region to the epidermis. Okay, a lot of blood supply here, supplying those base layers of the epidermis, and some corpuscles of touch, so helping for touch sensation. Next, we have the reticular region. This is the main section of the dermis where we're going to see the accessory structures, a lot of blood vessels, and a lot of nerve tissue. Okay, so this here, right below that epidermis, is where we're going to see the papillary region of the dermis, and from here to here is where we have the reticular region. But here is the subcu, or the subcutaneous layer, again also known as the hypodermis. This is attaching the integumentary system to underlying structures.